Alright.
Yep, you're good to
Good
go
evening.
already.
Good evening, everybody. The Land Development Code text amendments. This is round 1 of 2024. This is our public outreach meeting. We will have the first public hearing in front of the county commissioners on May 9th. Then we will present these items to the Planning Commission for consistent finding on May 13th. And the adoption hearing, which is the second public hearing in front of the commissioners, will be on June 6, 2024. We have 7 items in this round. The first 3 items that you see on the screen, these were part of the last year's round of text amendments, and they're now back in the amendment process. And then the 4 items remaining are being introduced in this first round of this year. First item, LDC 230138, vaping retail shop standards. This amendment will add development standards to the location and permitting of the establishment that sells vaping products within 500 feet of public or private elementary, middle, and secondary schools. This will require a conditional use zoning permit to be approved for the establishments within 500 feet of public or private schools. It will be an administrative review. Vaping retail shops within 500 feet of a school will be a permissible conditional use in the commercial neighborhood, commercial general, and commercial intensive and manufacturing districts, and also planned developments which permits uses allowed in those zoning districts. Will prohibit vaping retail shops with more than 20% of its total monthly retail sales of vaping products within 500 feet of public or private schools. Vaping retail shops with more than 20% of its total monthly retail sales of vape products, which are located within 500 feet of public or private schools that were a permitted use and in lawful operation by the effective date of this amendment, would be deemed a legal non-conforming use. And this non-conforming use determination will need to be made through submittal of a determination of non-conformity application by the property owner or the operator. The determination will identify the maximum percentage of total monthly retail sales that may be derived from the sale of vaping products, and the permitted sales percentage will not be eligible for increase or expansions by the Board of County Commissioners. This amendment also provides the definitions of vaping retail shop, vaping products, and vapor generating electronic device. We are creating a new conditional use section, 611-136 in the code with these new standards. And also 110301, which is the nonconformities, will be amended for the non-conforming use requirements. This new permit will not require fees to be paid. And again, this is going to be an administrative review process. That concludes this first item. If someone has a question before we move on to the next. All right, we go to the next. Land Development Code 230311, comprehensive plan amendments with related rezoning applications and Planning Commission rezoning report filing deadline. This amendment will modify the procedure for amendments to the official zoning atlas of the Land Development Code, specifically the consideration and final decisions by the Board of County Commissioners when rezonings or major modifications applications are related to applications to amend the future of Hillsborough comprehensive plans or related to a CPA. It also modifies the filing date for reports prepared by Planning Commission staff for hearing applications. The amendment will establish that applications proceedings in accordance with the code, Part 100300, that are contingent on a request to amend the comprehensive plan, will be deemed withdrawn and of no further effect if, in the event that such requested amendments to the comprehensive plan is denied by the commissioners and no further proceedings or actions will be required. It also eliminates the 12-day calendar requirement for the filing reports with administered by Planning Commission staff for land use hearing officers' applications. Instead, the filing of these reports will be in accordance with the hearing master schedule, which is adopted by the administrator. And this is consistent with other agency report filing deadlines, which are also included in the master schedule by the administrator. That concludes this item. If anyone has a question. Okay, move on to the next. And the third item is item 230312, yard waste, air curtain incinerators. This amendment modifies the standard for yard waste, air curtain incinerators, or ACI facilities. The amendment will distinguish between commercial facilities, which accept yard trash generated off-site for incineration, and those that are temporary and accessory to the clearing of land, limited to the incineration of yard trash generated on the site only. It will specify that commercial facilities will only be permissible as a conditional use in the commercial intensive and manufacturing zoning districts. The facility will be limited to the incineration of yard trash only, and open pile burning will be prohibited. It will also provide for minimum required setbacks along boundaries and roadways, increased yard for residential development or zoning, and will also require screening by a solid fence. The other type of facilities, which are the accessory to land clearing or site development, will be permitted in all zoning districts. Staff is also providing a second text option, which would require a plan development rezoning for the commercial facilities instead of a conditional use. So conditional use will be an administrative review. The other option, a PD, will require a notice public hearing and then final approval by the Board of County Commissioners. This amendment is being directed by the County Commissioners, and that ends this presentation of this item. If you have any questions. Okay, moving on to the next. Next item is 240340, Leave Local Act, Administrative Approval and Land Use Restriction Agreement, or LURA Process. This amendment will implement the Leave Local Act, recently created by Senate Bill 102, and establishes the standards and administrative procedures for new projects developed under the Leave Local Act and Land Use Restriction Agreement. These projects will still adhere to all other limitations and requirements contained in Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan and the proposed Land Development Code regulations for multifamily development in areas zoned for such uses. The amendment will also provide the criteria and development requirements for a project to qualify under the Leave Local Act in the county, consistent with the Leave Local Act statute. It will also establish a procedure for review of new Leave Local Act projects in the county and the submittal requirements by applicants, an internal process by the Development Services Department and also the Affordable Housing Services. This amendment will create two sections in our code, one for the development standards and criteria for these projects, including allowable zoning districts, maximum height, parking requirements, density up to 35 dwelling units per the acre, occupancy requirements for affordable housing, provide also for buffering and screening between multifamily projects and land designated as heavy industrial in the future land use classification. And this is to mitigate impacts to these proposed residential projects. The other Land Development Code section that will incorporate the review procedures that the internal departments will follow once these applications are filed by the applicants under the Leave Local Act. And this concludes this presentation. If you have any questions. Okay, seeing none, we'll continue with the next. Next item is LDC 240341, private railroad crossings, written authorization by rail line owner. This will add requirements for future development seeking private railroad crossings, including agritourism activities, to obtain written authorization from rail line owners. All new development activities crossing existing rail lines on private roads will be required to provide written authorization to the county coming from the rail line owner. This authorization will allow the opportunity to assess the type and amount of traffic that will be crossing the rail line to ensure the appropriate crossing controls are in place for safety purposes. This amendment has been directed by the Board of County Commissioners. These new regulations will be incorporated in the Section 60403 of the Land Development Code General Access Standards. That concludes this item. Do you have any questions? Okay, go to the next one. Next item, LDC 240342, wetland setbacks reduction. This text amendment will define the instances where wetland setbacks will provide functional protection to adjacent wetlands. It will remove the requirement for a wetland setback when wetlands are approved to be impacted, creating a new wetland line, and the changes to the site would not have water flowing through the otherwise applicable setback area to the wetland. It will also incorporate allowances for fences that do not impede the flow of stormwater to be located within wetland setback areas, and will permit pool screen enclosure to be located in portion of wetland setbacks areas where pools are currently allowed. Section 40107 of the Land Development Code will be updated with these changes. Okay. Any question before we move to the next one? Okay, we move on to the next and the last item, LDC 240343, irrigation plans revisions. This amendment aims to reduce duplicative irrigation designs by eliminating the need for developers to submit an irrigation plan for review during the site and subdivision application process. It will eliminate the requirement for applicants to submit an irrigation plan, and this will increase the review efficiency and reduce duplicate efforts when designing the irrigation system. It will require that the irrigation design meets the code design criteria, and it will have to be attested to by a Florida state licensed professional. And that concludes this item, and this is the last item for tonight. If you have any question. Okay, seeing none. All right, well, that concludes all the items that we have for this first round of 2024. Thank you for participating today, and staff is available for questions. If you need any follow-up question or clarification, you can always email us or go to the Land Development Code website. And thank you for participating tonight.
Thank you, Israel.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks, Israel.